This is the second part in a 2-part series on how to upgrade your Mac Mini storage. If you haven't seen part 1, you can get to it up here. I'll also put a link in the description as well. I highly recommend you start there, otherwise you'll be jumping through halfway through the process. Let's get started. In the last video, we left off after creating our USB install source and putting together the Orico USB enclosure. Let's get these plugged in and start the install process. Once both of your devices are plugged in, press and hold the power button on your Mac Mini until the startup options screen appears. Once the startup options appear, you'll see your internal hard drive and our USB install source that we created in the first video. Let's go ahead and install macOS Monterey on our external drive. We'll walk through each step of the process. This first prompt is looking for you to authenticate your account from the internal storage. So just click on it and hit next, and then type in your account password. It's the same one you use to log into your Mac. Next, the macOS Monterey installer will come up. Let's hit continue and agree on the license agreement. So we want to install macOS on this disk. This is our external drive, but it doesn't have the right format. So let's go into Disk Utility to format this properly. You just go up to Install macOS Monterey and hit Quit Install macOS, and we'll quit, and then go into Disk Utility. I like to go into View and hit Show All Devices, and this will show us all of our devices. So this guy here is the macOS installer USB that we created. And then this is our Orico external enclosure with the Samsung 2TB drive in it. So what we'll have to do is click on Erase, make sure this is set to APFS. I'm just going to label this Orico and then click Erase. This could take from 10 seconds to a minute. Once it's done, click Done. And then we can exit Disk Utility and go back into Install macOS Monterey. The same steps, we'll hit continue and agree to the license agreement. And then our external drive shows up. So we just select it and hit continue. We will select a user, click install, type in our password, and then we just have to wait. This process could take 20 minutes to an hour depending on the speed of your disk. I'm going to speed this up and we'll resume when it's done. Once this finishes up, the Mac will restart into the setup wizard, and then we'll go through migrating our data. Okay, so now the Mac has booted up off the external USB and we have the setup wizard up. Let's continue. So select your country, connect to Wi-Fi. And then the migration assistant will ask you, how do you want to transfer your information? We're going to pick this first option from a Mac Time Machine Backup or Startup Disk because our internal is a startup disk. And then this Macintosh HD is our startup disk. This one here is our USB installer. And then this is a Time Machine disk on our network. So we'll select the Macintosh HD and then enter your password because this volume was encrypted. So it's going to run a couple checks. And then it will ask you to select the information you'd like to transfer. For the most part, you can just hit continue. If you were going from a bigger disk to a smaller disk, you'd have to drop some stuff to make your data fit into the new disk. This way, we're going to take up 205 gigabytes and we'll have 1.7 terabytes left available after transferring. Then we'll set a password for our new account and click continue. And then we just have to wait for it to finish. Again, depending on your storage, it could take 10 minutes to an hour. the migration's complete and we just click restart now, and your Mac will boot from the new external. There's a couple steps it's going to go through here to complete the migration, and then you'll be taken to the login page. Just log in with your password from your existing account and you'll be good to go. You'll have to sign into your Apple ID. And then it will set up your iCloud account again. It walks through the steps really nicely. So this is asking to enter the password for the internal drive. This is just asking because the drive's encrypted and it's trying to mount it. So if we hit cancel, and then we'll go into disk utility, and while that's loading, let's check our storage. So this is our USB installer. We don't need that anymore. This 251 gigabyte flash storage is our internal drive that I didn't unlock. And then we're running here off the Orico with the 2 terabyte storage in it. I will go through how to delete this Apple partition after. So, and there we're all set. We have migrated our information from the internal storage to the Orico storage and have a ton more free space for half the price. So that's the way to install macOS on the external drive and then migrate your data over. I have had a couple questions asking if you could just clone the drive using a program like Carbon Copy Cloner. My initial attempt at this didn't work, but with some further investigation, you can use Carbon Copy Cloner's legacy bootable copy assistant to make a bootable copy. You can also use this as a bootable backup for your system. It worked really well. In my situation, it took about 20 minutes to create. You go into Startup Disk, select your external drive, it just reboots and works as normal. You will get a prompt from Carbon Copy Cloner saying that you've booted off your backup. It actually works really well. So we'll go back into Disk Utility. And I'm just going to click on this Apple SSD and click Erase. Let's just call it Internal Storage. To erase or delete volumes, you'll need to fully erase this Mac. This will delete all media volumes. Let's just go ahead and click on erase, and then it will do a reboot. It shouldn't delete your external. We'll verify it here in a minute. That being said, always have a backup copy of your data. I can't stress that enough. You should strive to have 3 copies, the original, a local backup, and an offsite backup, so that if anything were to happen, you always have it. Let's see what it loads back up into. Connect to a Wi-Fi network. And then if we just go to Startup Disk, we should find our external. And then just do restart and continue. So Disk Utility is loading back up, and we'll see how our volumes look. So we have our Macintosh HD, which is all empty. And then our main system's here. I think that's it for today. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing and click that like button. If you have any questions about any of the steps in this video, please shoot a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer your questions. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one. But with some further investigation, you can use Carbon Copy Cloner's legacy bootable volume assistant. Copy assistant. But with some further investigation, you can use Carbon Copy Cloner's legacy bootable copy assistant. Yeah.